Dear students, today we are going to talk about how many months of preparation is required to clear CA finals. Along with that, we are going to answer a few questions like whether 2 months are enough, whether 3 months are enough, or how many months of preparation is required for one group, how many months of preparation is required for two groups. If we were talking about CA IPCC or CA Foundation, this would have been a very simple answer. But since we are talking about CA finals, it's a lot more complicated than a simple yes or no. Because when it comes to CA finals, there are so many different factors that are influencing how much time is required. And these factors are personal to you. And the only person who can correctly gauge how many months are required is you. So I'll discuss those factors. And let's try to analyze at the end of this video how many months of preparation you may need. The single most important factor that will decide how many months of preparation you may need is your current level of understanding of the CA curriculum. Not just that, along with that, your experience in the office. Let me tell you a story about my CA finals journey. Direct tax was one of my worst prepared subjects. I had only revised it once and it was humongous. It was carrying me a lot. Even then, I went and wrote the direct tax exam without expecting to score not more than 50 marks. And when the results came, I was genuinely surprised because in group 2, direct tax was the only subject I got an exemption in. And I tried to analyze a lot about why I ended up scoring so much in direct tax when my preparation itself was not satisfactory to myself. And as I analyzed more and more, I realized almost everyone from our office in the past had scored an exemption. Our office, where I did my articleship, is more focused towards direct tax. So your articleship experience plays a big role in how much time you will take to understand the syllabus and how much you may end up scoring. So your current level of understanding combined with your articleship experience is what matters the most. If you already have exposures in the subjects that you're going to study, those subjects are going to be easy for you, without a doubt. And if you don't have an exposure in those subjects, if you don't know a lot about those subjects, you may find it a little difficult to understand. That is why one of the good things that you can do while you're in articleship is try to understand a lot more things that matter to your exams than just getting it done with. You can pick up an interest in stock markets. You can start reading financial news. You can go through the amendments and the laws that are relevant to your CA final syllabus, because that really sets the stage for your CA final journey. So that was factor 1. The second factor is time management. This is a word that gets thrown around very frequently. Time management. What is time management? Let's try to get a hold of this word. To be able to manage your time, to be able to plan ahead, and to stick to that schedule with regards to studying, breaks, most importantly breaks, as well as your overall growth or overall journey towards your destination, and planning accordingly, making changes, making dynamic changes in your plan with respect to long-term time, maybe entire 6 months, with respect to each subject, maybe 15 days, and purely short-term, what I'm going to study today. Managing time at a macro level as well as at a minuscule level as to what I'm going to study right now, and finishing those topics in the time that you have allotted for yourself. That is time management. There's another aspect of time management as well with respect to exams, how you're going to prepare for your exams in the last 1.5 days, how you're going to write your exams in the 180 minutes that you're given. But that's not a topic for today. So how well you are able to manage your time is also an important factor. The third factor, whether we like to accept it or not, is grasping power, memory power, and speed at which you read. See, we have to accept that not everyone is the same, and what works for some one person may not necessarily work for you. If some one person is able to study 10-12 hours a day, it's not necessary that you are able to study for more than 8 hours a day. But at the same time, you may be able to give 6 or 8 hours of very concentrated efforts where you're able to finish a lot more than a person who's giving 12 hours. So everybody is different, and everyone is going to have a different level of memory power, a different level of grasping power, and a different level of reading speed. If you're able to grasp things quickly, you may not need to read it again and again to understand it. If your memory power is good, you may be able to cruise through studying theory and you'll remember everything even if you studied it once. If your reading speed is really good, you'll be able to cover a lot of ground within a short period of time. That is why probably this factor differs from each person who is trying to analyze themselves. And this cannot be told to you by someone else. Someone else cannot tell you how good your reading speed is or how good your grasping power is. You have to be a judge of that, and you will have to analyze for yourself and try to get a good number of your pace, of your understanding, and how much time you may need. The fourth and the most overlooked part is consistency. What do I mean when I say consistency? Consistency is nothing but going at it day in and day out. Whether or not you're tired, whether or not you're burnt out, whether or not you're feeling well. It's about studying at least an hour or two every day, no matter what. It's not about studying 16 hours for one day and giving up for the entire week. And why this really matters is, if the exam is tomorrow, I can study 16 hours today and I can go and write the exam and I can still manage it. But you'll have to do this for a period of at least 4 to 6 months, even if it is 2 months, over and over again, every day. And that is why consistency matters a lot. If you're able to give very concentrated 8 hours each day, it will compound into something really great, and your knowledge will grow at a way higher pace than if you're studying 16 hours a day. With these 4 factors in mind, let's try to understand how much you've already finished in the syllabus. Have you gone through the entire syllabus once? Have you taken classes for the subjects? Or have you finished reading everything once and you've already revised it once? So let us analyze each scenario. If you're just starting out, you have zero preparation, you have not gone through any institute material, you have not taken any classes, and you're just now preparing for CA finals, the probability that you will finish reading everything within the 2 months is very low, especially for both groups. Realistically, let's say you need somewhere around 1000 hours or 1200 hours to go through the entire syllabus, and you have to do at least 1 or 2 revisions, which is again some 200 to 300 hours. That is assuming out of the 4 factors I mentioned, you are at least good in 3 of those factors. You will need, by that logic, somewhere around 5 to 6 months to go through the entire syllabus and do 1 round of revision. However, if you've already gone through the syllabus at least once, that time may be realistically around 3 to 4 months, because you've studied everything once. You're just revising the entire thing, trying to write mocks and trying to ensure that you clear within the first attempt. If you're going to write only one group, then the time is cut in half. So say around 3 months, 2 to 3 months. And if you've prepared for it already and you're just revising, maybe around a month. Please understand, these numbers, the months that I'm telling you, are just based on what I've seen, how I have studied, how my seniors have studied, how my juniors have studied. And this is just an average, just to give you a brief idea. At the end of the day, like I said, it's you who has to analyze how much time will be required. You have to see how you fare in those 4 factors that I mentioned. Should be good at least in 3 of those 4 factors that I mentioned, to be able to apply those numbers to yourself and benchmark yourselves against that number. It will still give you only an idea about how well you can do. However, if you have time, if you're still doing your articleship, I would always suggest, please start as soon as possible. Just because you did some calculations, you did some math, you heard some seniors say that 2 months are enough, please don't wait until the last 2 months to begin your preparations. Begin as soon as possible. And if you were not able to do that and your exams are coming up within next 2 months, then plan for those 2 months as much as possible and try to stick to that plan. Our institute used to have a quote in all the bookmarks that they used to give us.
Failing to plan is planning to fail.
So at the end of the day, it's all about planning for however much time you decide that you will need and sticking to that plan. Talk to people who are similar to you and see what they did to maybe clear the exams, how much time they gave to prepare for the exams. The best would be to ask your own seniors in the firm in which you did articleship. You can branch out and ask your friends how they are doing. But it's not necessary that you take everything they say in face value. You will have factors, like I discussed, which are personal to you, and based on that, if you need a little more time to understand something, if your grasping power is low, accept it and give more time to understanding concepts. If your reading speed is slow, it's okay. Just give more time during the day to cover more topics. Finally, let me conclude by saying, do your own analysis. Try to understand where you stand and set your own terms. But my personal suggestion is start as soon as you can and give it as much time as you can. That's been it. Catch you guys in the next one.